Hey, what's up everybody? Logan Merrick here, and I want to thank you so much for viewing this. In this video, we're going to talk about 5 books every Christian should read, because here's the thing. You should be a reader. We're going to talk more about that in just a second. First, cue the intro. Go ahead. Cue it. Would somebody cue the intro, please? Hey, what's up everybody? Hey, before we go any further, I want to thank you so much for watching this, but also, would you go ahead and subscribe down below? Hit that little bell if you so feel the need. What that bell does is it lets you know as soon as I upload a video, you're going to know about it. So if you would, subscribe to this channel. What my channel is all about is I am a dad, a husband, a church planter. A church planter is a guy who plants churches, and I'm all about loving Jesus and loving people. And so this channel is dedicated to being a dad, being a pastor, and challenging Christians, trying to help answer questions of the faith, but kind of help you grow in your faith as well. So that's what this channel is all about. Just being a dad, seeing what it is to be in the life of a pastor, and challenging you as a Christian to grow deeper in your faith. So how do we do that? Well, here's one. Books. We should be readers. And so I was out there and I was like, hey, what are some books that other people, other blogs and stuff like out there, what do they recommend that Christians should read? And I was really disappointed, especially there was one website in particular that is a Christian television network, and that's all I'll say, that recommended 10 books, and I was very disappointed. Like, here are a couple of them. The Love Dare.
What?
Yeah. 90 Minutes in Heaven.
What?
Jesus Calling by Sarah Young. And none of these books are bad. They're just, they're not books that I would say, hey, deepen your faith, deepen your walk, and go read these books. Like that, none of those books do I feel like do that. And so these 5 books that I'm about to tell you about, I think they're 5 books that I feel like are classics, but they're also books that will challenge you and deepen your walk. So here we go. Number 1, C.S. Lewis, Mere Christianity. If you don't know C.S. Lewis, he's most famous for The Chronicles of Narnia. But he actually, there's so much more to him than just that. And C.S. Lewis will be an all-time classic writer, I think, in all of literature, but especially as a Christian. So he's not just a fictional writer, but he actually wrote apologetic books. So what is apologetics? It's defending the faith. And so here's a little bit about C.S. Lewis. He was an atheist from a very young age, wanted nothing to do with God, and actually did everything he could to argue against Christianity because he just felt like it was just totally lame. And his best friend was J.R.R. Tolkien, who wrote The Lord of the Rings. And it was in their discussions and in their private time, J.R.R. Tolkien would challenge him and challenge a lot of his thought processes. And so he began to kind of look at it and go, whoa, wait a second, hold on, maybe I need to look a little deeper into this. And so Mere Christianity is kind of a lot of that walk. And so C.S. Lewis actually described himself as the most reluctant convert ever. I love C.S. Lewis. He was way ahead of his time. So definitely highly recommend, if you're a skeptic or if you're a believer, no matter who you are, go do yourself a favor, read Mere Christianity. Number 2, definitely think that this next book that I'm going to recommend, it is brand new pretty much, but I think it will go down as being one of the greatest books for Christians, especially in our culture, in our time today. And the book is called This Is Our Time by Trevin Wax. Trevin Wax is, he's a part of the Lifeway team, writing curriculum and things like that. He has a great blog. He blogs for the Gospel Coalition sometimes. Definitely get out there and follow him on Twitter, Trevin Wax. And I will have links to all of these books in the show notes, okay? So This Is Our Time really kind of tackles the whole aspect of gods, idolatry, different things we face as Christians in our culture today. Social media, just so much stuff. It is such a needed book, and it's so on point and just right on time. So This Is Our Time is a great book. Number 3, This is a book that I don't think that anyone, most people don't know. They don't know the author, but it is a book I recommend from a missional living standpoint. Living on mission for Jesus, looking at your life as not just this ho-hum, lackadaisical, I go to church and that's it. This book will challenge you and really get you excited about living on mission for Jesus. And that book is called The Tangible Kingdom by Hugh Halter and Matt Smay. Met Hugh Halter a couple times. Just a cool dude. Love his heart for ministry, his heart for people, for the lost. I'm not going to share the stories in it because you should go out and get the book. He's a great writer. Hugh shares some really funny stories. And so get out there and get that book because it's going to challenge you and make your faith more exciting. So, The Tangible Kingdom by Hugh Halter and Matt Smay. Number 4. Another classic writer, historical writer in my opinion, A.W. Tozer, The Crucified Life. The Crucified Life was a book that wasn't published when Tozer was still alive. This book recently came out about 2 years ago, and it is taken from the book of Galatians, Galatians 2:20. For I have been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I who live, but Christ that lives in me and through me. And that book is completely centered on humility and dying to yourself. That book just melted my face and ripped it off. Phenomenal book, highly recommend. That's why it's in my top 5. Here's another book that I thought about putting in the top 5, but then I was like, The Crucified Life kind of tackles that, but it's still a great book. And the book is called The Way of the Dragon or The Way of the Lamb, and it's by Kyle Strobel, and I think you say Jamin Goggin. I'm not sure, but this book right here will melt your face as well. Didn't make the top 5, but that's okay. Still a phenomenal book. I'm still going to have a link for it in the bottom. But The Way of the Dragon or The Way of the Lamb, searching for Jesus' path of power in a church that has abandoned it. Incredible title. Number 5, last but not least, is a guy who was completely, I think, and he would agree because he says this quite often, influenced by C.S. Lewis. Again, another book for a skeptic. If you're a skeptic, you're not necessarily, you don't call yourself a Christian and probably not a fan of Christianity. Do yourself a favor and get this book, Get Mere Christianity, of all the books that I'm recommending. And if you're watching this and you're a skeptic, hey, thanks so much for watching it. And I welcome your questions if you have questions. Would love to chat with you. But number 5 is Tim Keller's The Reasons for God. As a Christian, you should have a defense, as Peter says, for when you're asked questions. And if you don't wrestle with the hard things that skeptics throw out there, you're doing it wrong, man. And you should have answers. And so that's why you should be digging down deep, okay? So The Reasons for God will tackle all those questions from skeptics and do it in a way that is not difficult to understand. It doesn't talk over your head like some of those books can be. It's written for the common everyday Christian. So Tim Keller's A Reason for God, phenomenal book. Again, we'll have links to those in the show notes. But before I go, something that kind of bothered me is when I looked up statistics on reading, it says that 55% of men, once they're done with whatever their education level, high school, PhD, doesn't matter, will never read another book. That is disheartening, especially as Christians. Most women are readers, but if you're not a reader, you need to be a reader. As a Christian, we should be constantly learning and learning. You should be digging down deep in Scripture and really learning your faith. Paul actually applauded the Bereans because they didn't just take his word for it, but searched the Scriptures, he says, to make sure what he was saying was truth. And that's who we should be. We should be searching the Scripture, not just taking my word for it or your pastor's word for it, but you should be digging down deep in Scripture and learning your faith. And also how you grow in your faith is by reading books. Do that. And if you're not a reader, would you at least take these 5 books that I've recommended and just read those for the next year? Even if those are the only 5 you read, would you read those 5 books? Hey, do you have a book that you would recommend that should have been on this list in your opinion? Comment down below. Again, would you subscribe? Hit that little bell if you so please. If you want to hang out with me a little bit more, see what, as I vlog and kind of go through life, but as I'm going to recommend, my next vlog is going to be 3 books every young believer or new believer should read. So that's going to be coming up next week. So subscribe to this channel if you would. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know if you read any of those books and what you think, or if you've read those books, comment down below what you think, and share this with your friends. Let everyone know, hey, 5 books that you should be reading this year. See ya.